You might know that I made a video about Justin Tucker's record 66-yard field goal never being broken. Probably the biggest comment I got was, "But he hit 70-yarders in warm-ups," or "What about destroying?" Fair enough, the record will stand, but y'all got me thinking, what really is the farthest field goal possible? Is it 70, 80, 90, 100 yards? What factors could enable or limit such mighty kicks? And what is the true physical limit? All those answers are coming up right after this. Ah yes, back to school. I'm sure you brought all the essentials, right? Semi-clean clothes, maybe toothpaste? But there's one thing I know you can't live without on campus, and that's Raycons. Whether you need quiet time to study, motivation in the gym, or time to unwind without disturbing your roommates, high-quality earbuds like Raycons are essential to college life. It's not just these optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit that don't budge no matter what. It's also the 8 hours of playtime and 32-hour battery life. With over 50,000 5-star reviews, you'd think these were expensive, but they aren't. Raycons are half the price of other premium brands. For me, I love the sound profiles that allow me to switch things up so I can ignore my college-age son asking me for more money. You can either isolate noise or go to awareness mode. Plus, you have pure sound, balanced sound, and bass sound, all tailored to fit your needs. And Raycons now work with standard wireless charging systems. So after this video, go to buyraycon.com/5points from the link below and get 15% off your Raycon purchase. Again, that's buyraycon.com/5points from the link below and get 15% off your purchase. Part 1. What we do know. When it comes to kicking, one name comes up the most. No, not Justin Tucker, destroying. D was a former D1 kicker who gave up his scholarship for YouTube. Props. He has a video of him hitting an 80-yarder. 80 freaking yards. Sometimes you might see a pro or even college kicker easily put a kickoff through the uprights. That's from 75 yards. So you're saying it's evidential that the maximum field goal is at least 80 yards. But are these really field goals? Kickoffs get a running start. Destroying is kicking with unlimited tries without anyone in front of him and encouragement from his girlfriend. Nonetheless, we have video confirmation that an 80-yarder is possible. So let's set the bar there and see if we can go up. Part 2, helping the kicker. The first thing we're gonna have to look at is the environment of where a monster kick takes place. 3 of the top 5 kicks ever made in the NFL were performed at Mile High Stadium, though the remaining 2 and the record were done at sea level. Let's examine what elevation does to a football. According to Rhett Allain at Wired Magazine, due to the lack of air density, a kick at Empower Field in Denver could possibly add 4 extra yards of distance versus a kick at sea level. Considering that Destroying's kick was in Florida, which is basically at sea level, we can assume he'd hit from about 83, 84 yards in Denver. But what if the kick happened at the highest stadium on Earth? Estadio Daniel Alcides Carrion in Peru. It has an elevation of 14,232 feet. That's nearly 2.69 times higher than Mile High, which could potentially add 9 more yards to D's or any professional's kick. Are we really at 89 yards already? Of course, one detractor to an elevation that high would be the amount of attempts an athlete could perform. At that height, the kicker would suffer from extreme shortness of breath. In fact, FIFA has banned games at stadiums of elevations over 8,200 feet for that reason. But still, this argument has legs. Dad jokes. What about wind? Wind does greatly affect field goal percentage, but something you think would help distance has a massive negative effect on accuracy. According to thespax.com, when wind gusts are over 20 miles an hour, field goal percentages drop dramatically. Even with a trailing wind, the oblong shape of a football toppling end over end trying to make it through the air, that wind is going to affect it negatively. But for all y'all's argument's sake, let's say a 10-mile-an-hour perfectly straight trailing wind adds 2 to 3 yards because again, air resistance is reduced. So is a 91-yard field goal in perfect conditions possible? Not so fast. Part 3, limiting factors. The first limiting factor is something I touched on earlier, and that's accuracy. Every yard you move back from the goalpost, the field goal becomes proportionately more difficult until the margin of error becomes almost impossibly small. Because the sweet spot for a football is so tiny in which to apply kicking force, any variance on that spot is going to be amplified down the field. A millimeter on the ball becomes 20 feet at the other end of the field. Mark Rober built a robot kicker that can kick the ball over 105 yards. But it wasn't even close to accurate. Even more fitting, the machine broke on the next attempt. That's kind of important as we are pursuing the maximum kick possible. It's assumed many attempts would be needed until one was far enough, straight enough, and high enough, and at the right trajectory. It's possible our kicker just gets way too tired trying to hit from 90 before they find the uprights. Speaking of the kicker, part 4, the kicker. Destroying is 5'9", 171 pounds. Harrison Butker is 6'4", 199 pounds. Justin Tucker is 6'1", 181. The tallest kicker in NFL history? Cornelius Joseph Dennis O'Donohue at 6 foot 6 inches. His career long? 52 yards for the former St. Louis Cardinal. Good old tungsten leg O'Donohue. What am I getting at? Today size doesn't matter when it comes to kicker, though someday it could. Think of a freak athlete like O'Neal Cruz as a kicker. Yes, size does matter as he is absolutely tearing through exit velocity and throwing records in the MLB. An additional factor is the amount of pure physical effort a kicker has to exert to get a maximum distance and accurate kick out of their body. If you've ever played golf, you know that when you try to power a drive, the first thing that goes is accuracy. That's why on the longest field goal attempts in history, you see some pretty bad results. Try to yeet it, you probably eat it. I'm totally making that a t-shirt. Above all, a kicker's technique is what matters. A kicker has to generate the necessary force to get the ball in the air, and accurately. And that is where we bring this all together. Part 5, conclusion. In the end, everything comes down to math, and more importantly, foot speed. According to Chase Pfeiffer in a video he did with Wired, a foot would have to be traveling 56 miles an hour to hit an 80-yarder at sea level. And this is not the human limit. According to the same video, soccer players have been clocked at foot speeds of over 60 miles an hour, which in theory makes a 90-plus yarder possible. If we take, say, Ronaldo to Peru, give him a tailwind and unlimited tries, then yeah, I believe a 93-yarder is quite possible. Hell, maybe someone flies destroying out there to attempt the world record. Let's call it. 93 yards is the human limit, but in a game, college or otherwise, not a chance. As I said in my other video, 66 yards in a game is the max, because it's stupid to try a field goal any farther than that. In front of all those people, to have one chance to take a full power kick and not mess it up? Tucker hit from 66 because he hits from 70 all the time. Finally, the group of athletes who could take it farther. Elite soccer players would rather play soccer than American hand egg. Unless, you know, they suck at soccer. But you can have your dreams of a 90-yarder or even a 70-yarder in a game. Maybe someday destroying will show us all.